I'm sitting here, my back against the door, every nerve in my body on fire. I'm too scared to even breathe loudly, and I keep thinking that if I move, he'll hear me. I don't know what's on the other side of this door, but I know it's not Ricky. My husband is gone, and whatever is out there is pretending to be him. Let me start from the beginning. A few days ago, Ricky and I went on a hiking trip. It was supposed to be a little adventure for us, something to shake things up, you know. We'd been winding our way along this narrow trail deep in a gorge, the air thick with shadows as the sun began to set. Suddenly, Ricky stopped dead in his tracks. He was staring off into the trees, his face a mix of confusion and fear. "Did you see that?" he whispered, his voice shaky. "I think there's a kid out there." Before I could ask him what he meant, he took off into the woods, our dog Gordy bounding after him. I called for them to come back, but they disappeared into the darkness. I chased after them, stumbling over roots and rocks, my heart racing. I didn't see anything. No child, no footprints, nothing. It was just endless shadows swallowing me up. When I finally caught up, Ricky was standing alone, looking pale and shaken. "Gordy ran off," he said, glancing around like he expected the dog to reappear. He was snarling like he was going to attack. "Attack what?" I asked, trying to make sense of it all, but Ricky couldn't answer. He hadn't seen a child, he admitted. Just a glimpse of something that might have been human, and a strange murmuring, like a child talking to themselves. We searched for a while longer, calling Gordy's name, but he never came back. Finally, we gave up and returned to our cabin. It was silent the whole night, the woods pressing in on us like a living thing. The next morning, Gordy was waiting for us outside the cabin, his fur matted and muddy. He looked different, though. His eyes were darker, almost empty. He barely reacted when I tried to pet him, just pulled back his lips in a half-hearted growl. Ricky and I packed up and left. We thought maybe we'd gotten too shaken up, but once we got home, things only got stranger. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs to watch TV, hoping it would lull me into some kind of calm. The house was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels wrong, like something's holding its breath. I was half asleep when I heard a low muttering from the kitchen. It sounded almost like Ricky, but distorted, like he was talking through a broken radio. I got up, heart pounding, and walked into the kitchen, only to find Gordy there. He was standing on his hind legs, his head cocked to the side, eyes fixed on me. He made these guttural noises, a low, throaty rumble that raised every hair on my body. Then he dropped back down, staring at me with those empty eyes. I ran upstairs, my chest tight, and woke Ricky. He just laughed it off, saying I must have been dreaming, but he looked worried. The next day, he sent me a series of strange texts while I was at work. "Ricky, Gordy's making those noises again. I found him in the kitchen. He was scratching at the walls. Ricky, his skin looks weird, like it's peeling. Ricky, taking him to the vet. Something's not right." I tried calling him, but he didn't pick up. He's always been one of those people who refuses to answer his phone while driving, so I didn't think much of it. But when I got home, Ricky wasn't there. I checked his location and saw he was just a few miles away, near the emergency vet's route. I drove out there, the sky heavy with rain clouds, making everything feel even more ominous. I found his car off the side of a deserted road, the driver's door hanging open. I stepped out, calling his name, but there was no response. Then, in the fading light, I saw something that made my stomach turn. It was Gordy, or at least what was left of him. He was lying in the grass, torn open like a gutted fish, his insides exposed. I gagged, feeling bile rise in my throat. I don't know how I managed to stay on my feet. I took out my phone. about to call the police. But then I saw something move in the shadows. I turned, and there was Ricky, standing just a few feet away, half hidden in the darkness. But something was wrong. He was standing too still, his face expressionless. I called his name, but he didn't respond. He just stared at me, his eyes empty, like Gordy's had been. I took a step back, and that's when he spoke. But it wasn't his voice. It was Gordy's growl coming from his mouth, low and guttural, like he was imitating the dog. I ran back to my car, heart slamming against my ribs, and drove home as fast as I could. When I got back, I locked every door, every window. But it didn't matter. He found a way in. Now he's outside my bedroom door, knocking softly, repeating my name in that low, twisted voice. "Honey," he says, sounding almost like himself, but not quite. "Honey, open the door." Every time I hear his voice, it sends a chill down my spine. It's like he's trying to remember how to be Ricky, but failing, the words coming out wrong, like they don't quite fit in his mouth anymore. He keeps switching between Honey and Claire, and now he's using another name, Judy, his mother's name. I can hear him breathing outside the door, and every so often he whispers, "Open up, honey, everything's fine." But I know it's a lie. I can feel it, a sick, gnawing dread in the pit of my stomach. The last time he knocked, he started repeating things he'd heard on the TV. He was mimicking a news anchor saying, "Sunny weather coming up, sunny weather coming up," over and over again, like he was trying to remember how to speak. And then, in a voice that was almost too sweet, he said, "Claire, honey, open the door, Claire." I know that if I open the door, I won't find Ricky. I'll find whatever took his place, whatever dragged Gordy into the darkness and left him in pieces on the side of the road. I know that if I open the door, I won't come out of this room alive. I don't know how long I can hold out. I can hear him shuffling outside, whispering my name, repeating those twisted phrases. I'm not sure if anyone will believe me or if anyone can help. All I know is that the man outside my door is not my husband, and if he gets in, I'll be the next one to disappear